Hey everyone, I'm Kandyce.
I'm Latoya.
And I'm Sher'l.
And we are Sisters Unscripted.
We are completely unscripted, where we talk about all the things, all the shit, whatever we want, from the eyes of Black sisters.
Let's get into it.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Sisters Unscripted. We have a special guest today. We have our little brother, Will. Hey.
Hello, everybody.
Sup? How's it going, brother?
It's going good. Life is laughing. Down for the ride.
Life is lifing. We want to let y'all know that Latoya's not here. Poor thing is sick today. She lost her voice. We want to make sure that she gets her rest. And we love you, sis. And we can't wait to have you back on the next episode. This episode is all about Will. A lot of you have asked about our little brother. And, you guys have seen him in some of our videos. And a lot of you are Team Will. We thought it'd be fun to kind of do a little introduction. We'll definitely have him on the podcast a lot more. But, we got to introduce him first. We're going to give you just a little brief backstory. I know we've talked about it before, but we have our core four, which is the three of us and Latoya. And we have parents together. And then we have 3 half brothers. Am I right?
Yep.
3 half brothers on our dad's side. We're the core four because we have the same parents. So that's kind of what we define it as. Will, let's get into it. Sher'l, do you have anything to say first before we get into it?
I love Will. Will and I, well, this is just my perspective. I feel like all of us as siblings are really close, but I do feel we have our little circles within our groups. And so I feel like you and Latoya are close, and I feel closest to Will. And that probably has to do with our upbringing, I'm sure. And that totally makes sense. And I feel like I've voiced that before, but Will's our bro, but Will and I are like this.
Hey, rebuttal, Candace. I'm just kidding.
We're going to do a quick little fun little intro questions. So, Will, if someone asked what it's like growing up with us as sisters, like what would you tell them?
Ooh, that's a great question.
You can be
What would I
honest.
tell them. Okay. Well, I would say, it's interesting, right? So there's when we're living in one house, and then after the divorce, you know what I'm saying? So like the one thing I remember pre the divorce was like we fought a lot. I felt like lots of arguments just because we were being kids. And
Damn,
like,
really?
yeah, everybody. Because everybody fought with everybody, I felt like.
You felt like you fought equally a lot with everyone, or did you fight more with one?
I'd probably say I'd pick my fights with everyone. Okay, well, actually, hold on. Let me think about that real quick. Because I probably would have picked fights more with you because you were closer to my size, right? Not too much with Kandyce and Toya. Yeah, that'd probably be that seems about right. Yeah. But everybody got it, so.
I don't feel like you ever picked fights. If anything, I probably picked fights with you because I could pick on you.
I don't know. I was kind of a punk a little bit sometimes, so I'm grown enough to admit it now.
Why would you say that? Why'd you say you're a little punk?
I don't know, because I thought picking fights with your sister is what you did,
That is so
Like
interesting.
it was cool, right? So it was just a thing, But yeah,
So we argued a lot.
Yeah, just over some like stupid crap too. Like I don't even remember what it was, but I always remember mom saying, "Just wait till y'all grow up. You guys are gonna be the best of friends." And I'm like, "Yeah, right, mom. Whatever. That's not me slapping her. It's just pshaw, It's like you don't know what you're talking about." And then post divorce, right? It totally was true. We all became best friends. I felt like we all got closer. Fight stopped, obviously, because
we had less time together.
Less time, more important things to do than squabble, So
right, absolutely.
And I can even look back at like when we were bickering, like it was nothing personal, it was just kids being kids and me being a punk sometimes. So it is what it is. So, but yeah, like other than that, it was all good. Got some pretty diverse flavors from everybody. I feel like Kandyce and Toya more into the theatrical arts and stuff like that, and nothing wrong with that. And just doing their thing, expressing themselves like that. Sher'l's just kind of been the wild card, just doing her thing. We all played video games together. What else?
Bro, remember when like Kandyce was like, she was like the shit when it came to video games. Remember that? Like, and we would be like, dude, we can't beat this. And Kandyce is like, move aside, bitches. I got this, And now she just fucking sucks.
Listen,
Like,
let's stop that for a second. So I found a video. It was not this last birthday that you had, but the year before. And I think it was the year before. And we had all went to your house and we were playing, I think we had played Mario Kart and you were fourth place. You remember that? I have it on video
ooh, she
too.
got receipts.
Yeah.
I do.
What
I
place were you?
do. First. Thank you.
Did they give you
Thank
props?
you. From the video, I couldn't tell. You probably did, but from the video, it looked like it seemed like you were giving me some shade. Just
Probably.
like kind of like one of those things of like, let's not talk about it. Okay. Like, let's not talk about it.
Probably. Anyway, continue.
That's kind of funny because like I remember too, like, so speaking of Mario Kart, I remember this one time like we all and Dad were playing Mario Kart, and somehow, some way, I don't know how this happened, right? I think we were trading off or something like that. We were doing 2-player, and I was going against Dad, and I was like, okay, hold on, like I gotta go use the bathroom real quick. So I went to go use the bathroom like super quick, right? And then I came back and I was like, okay, we're about to start this. How little did I know, Dad went the entire thing 3 times, and right as we were starting, he won. And I'm like, what the crap happened? And then you all just bust up laughing like it was funny. I mean, granted, it was kind of funny, but I'm like, how in the world? Just random memory that popped up because Mario Kart. I'm like, how? And I still had to give it up after that there too. We didn't lose or passes up. I'm like, ain't
Damn.
that some crap?
Damn. You know
But
what?
that's a good one
Totally,
though.
I will say totally random, but I understand I have a different mentality because I don't have kids, but I appreciate that Dad didn't take it easy on us. You know what I mean? Because like we better gamers because of it. And also I feel like we understand what losing looks like. Like yeah, of course we have like shade and stuff like that, but we don't take it personal, you know.
It's
That
just
sound yeah, it's just a game. It's just a game. And I feel like people that baby their children try to like when it comes to games and they don't, you know, they actually don't like teach them those like there's some life lessons in that. So props, Dad. Anyway,
Life
that is
lessons in
true.
video games.
Yep. Good stuff can comes from it. It really is. It's kind of speaking along the same lines, right? Another awesome memory, just kind of growing up with you guys. I remember when we all played Resident Evil 3 the first time together.
that's why I
That
have
was
Nemesis
super
on
fun.
me. That is you guys, I can't even tell you. That is my favorite memory of the 5 of us. It just like I remember specifically the the it's mid-boss battle after the clock tower when Jill gets infected by Nemesis. And then we went through and she gets infected, has the virus, and then we're like, what do we do? What do we do? And then we look at the handbook and we're like, start curing her. And then we saw that the of course, the green one is for health, and then we use that, and we're like, it doesn't do anything. What does red do? And red is like, you can only combine it with the green or the blue. And then we're like, okay, well, we can't use that. So then what's the blue? And it's like, blue is supposed to cure poison. We're like, it's got to be that. And then we use blue with the red, and then it doesn't do anything. We're like, we gotta fight him like this. Are you kidding me? Like this is like and you got him all fucked up. And like, I don't know. Honestly, why I have Nemesis tattooed on me. And it's not even like the game is great, but it's not the game for me. It's the memories that I have with it. And that is one of my favorite memories of all of us.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
posted something on your Instagram story, Sher'l. Something of like, you know, you're a millennial kid. If you know, you hear the 2000 songs, it's like you hear it, it takes you to a time. It was you did the same thing, but it was with PlayStation sounds, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could totally hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about it there too. And one of my favorite memories too, with like Resident Evil 3 specifically, just like how we all, spoiler alerts for anybody who hasn't played at this point, but at this point it's been out for like 20 years. So get playing. But we were all the police station, right? And like we do all we need to do, right? Okay, first of all, like let's give props to like the sound design, right? Because the entire time you hear homeboy in the back just busting through doors, and you're just like, where's he at? He's just gonna be right there. I better hurry up. Da, 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 right? But he's never gonna reach you. Spoiler alert. He's just never gonna do it until you're about to leave, and then he busts out the window, and we all died. And we're like, oh my gosh,
Doors.
Yup. And to this day, I have nightmares of that guy. Kind of
That
happy
was
9 years,
scary.
but it was
I had
scary.
to have lights on for a while after
I
playing that
believe it.
game.
Yep. But like the
That
cool
game
thing
was
is like we all like faced our fears, quote unquote, or experienced them together in that case. And even though he was really fast and really aggressive and crap like that. So, but
life
anyways,
lessons
life
of video
lessons in video
games.
games. Boom. So that was cool. I remember watching a whole bunch of scary movies that I probably shouldn't have watched, but watched them anyways with you guys. Super fun. I don't remember if I was scared the entire time. I don't really remember that, but I do remember I was kind of trying to show off a little bit for your friends, more like Toya and Candace, for your friends. Random memories just sparking up. Remember there was one time when I was like dancing with my shirt off and crap like that, and I was on my Wild Wild West thing, right? I mean, I still kind of like the song. It's cool, but I was dancing
That's
for your friends and
hilarious.
crap like that. Nowadays, I'm like, nope, I am not a performer. I perform for nobody except for my
Whatever you
child
used to.
sometimes.
Fun fact about Will is he played football and he did cheer, which is
True.
awesome. I remember a story that you told me or that you told us that some of the guys in high school would make fun of you because you were on the cheer squad, but like you were also doing football. And I remember you telling us that you told them, you're like, I'm the one that's lifting the girls up in the air. What are y'all doing? And I was like, ooh, what do the kids do these days? Tea.
I mean, lie at though, you know what I'm saying? I'm
I
hanging out
mean,
with all
right?
girls. I mean, granted, I didn't do it for the girls, but with all
Right.
it is, just hanging out with a bunch of fine-looking females, right? While they are just playing with sweaty boys. It's really weird, right? And they try to give me crap about it. And I'm just like, dude, it doesn't even. I remember there's one dude. I'm not gonna say his name out loud, but he know who he is, right? It turns out his girlfriend was on the cheer squad. Didn't know that. Didn't care. He tried to give me crap about it. I was like, oh, you really about this football life, then you have nothing, no time for anything else. Because I'm always on my grind 24/7. I'm like, good for you, man. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the gym, work out, come to school, do football conditioning, do school, do cheer practice while in school, then go to football practice, and then go to cheer practice afterwards. So I got time. What's your excuse? You know what I'm saying? So it's really
Right.
weird. So
Yeah.
you try to
Would
give
you
me
go back
crap
to high
about it.
school if you could?
Go back if I could.
To high school.
Like in what capacity?
Just if you could redo high school, would you do it?
I would do it again. One thing that I would probably make sure that I would do because I was really busy with sports and all that stuff, which was cool and it was good, great experience, and it helped pay for college part of the way too. Shout out to my cheer squad. Um, but part of it too, like I feel like the social aspect of it, the social life, I didn't really get too much into it, you know, and I didn't really have any interest at the time because my whole like, oh, I'm gonna make it to the NFL and da 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 da. I had those dreams like most kids, right? And my chances were good as everybody else's, despite all the hard work that I put in. But I was just about it, which nothing wrong with it. But I think it's good to be rounded out as an individual, having a good social life and knowing how to talk to people, make relationships, curate them, cherish them. Not saying like I was a terrible person or anything like that, but I can, me looking back at high school, I was the kind of guy that I was friends with everybody, but, you know, I probably, I mean, I hardly talk to anybody in high school anymore, you know. So it's just like, okay, cool. We were cool for the moment, but it's like, hey, let me put it to you this way. Not too many people from high school were at my wedding, right? For good reason, you know. Nothing against them. It's just how it went. And, it's kind of a two-way street on that. And just kind of is what it is. So, but I'll go back and kind of get more into. Try to be more social, instead of just being like, oh, I'm the jock. I'm in there playing the sports and stuff like that. But cheer was cool because it was a very different experience, and I'd say everybody should do it honestly because lots of cool stuff. Like what was a good lesson from that? Kind of speaking about that. Do you guys ever hear about how I actually started cheer?
No.
It all started because of a joke actually I made. More of a rumor, right? I didn't make the rumor. I just kind of like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. So there's this one dude in my class, and right, he knows who he is. Well, actually, he probably doesn't know that he did this, but he did do this. He was a person that couldn't really like keep his mouth shut about anything, but loves to spread rumors. Right, loves it. I don't know why, especially for a dude. I'm like, why? But he did it. So here's the joke, right? So the joke, because the cheer coach was my biology teacher, and I was like, hey, dude. So one of my friends was like, hey, I kind of need a little help with getting some extra credit. You want to come try out for cheer with me, and get a level or a whole grade level bump if I do it, right? I just want you to be there for moral support. And I just kind of like, I thought I was being like, what's the word for it? Silly enough for him not to like really believe it. But apparently that wasn't the case. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So maybe I am a good actor. I don't know. Let's see. So so that happens, and I thought he knew that I was joking, but apparently not. And then he goes and tells my other friend, who's the guy that loves to spread rumors, right? So somehow he spreads rumors, and it caught on like wildfire. And then eventually it got to the point where like the cheerleaders were coming up like, "Oh, Will, you actually trying out for cheer?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah, let me tell you." And then, well, let's see, there was a stunt clinic that they had where the stunt clinic is just where the girls go out and find guys to come and just try out stunts. And Sid was on the team at the time, so it was just kind of an easy, like, hey, can you just come do this thing with me? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Just trying to be a good brother, right? So I go to that, and I actually liked it. I sucked at it, but it was cool. And it's like, oh yeah, and like we can teach you how to do backflips and stuff. I'm like, backflips are cool, just being a dude. That'd be cool to do backflips. So yeah, so I went to it, and then obviously my teacher saw it. She's like, "Hey, so are you serious about this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am, but you got to understand that I've been training for football for years. So like that's my first love. So, how can we make this work?" So we worked out a deal where I could do cheer, or sorry, I could play football, obviously, be essentially relieved of my cheerleading responsibilities until that's over. And after that, I couldn't do basketball or anything else. But yeah, I wasn't really trying to go for basketball after I had a tryout where I got injured during the tryout by one of my friends. So that's fine,
Dang.
but it was cool. And then I just stuck with it. It's like the dynamic between like the two different sports. So like football, it's a lot of explosive collision, like raw power. There is technique in it, but it's not as important as cheer. So cheer is more of technical and lots of control. And it was just kind of a whole new experience for me because I'm like, yeah. So like for stunting, for example, so it's technique like I talked about, but it's also timing. So in order to make it work, you can't just raw power through it because you maybe could get the girl up in the air, but she may not be able to, stay up there, or, it may not stick or stand or anything like that. So you kind of have to work with that, and had some good teachers and some good partners along the way. And yeah, it just taught me a whole lot. Lots of experiences there too. Shout out to Roy Rogers and his boys that taught us how to dance a little bit, and we taught his boys how to stunt a little bit, and we both did well in our competition, so it was pretty cool. So it's just awesome experiences like that happen. So yeah, try out new things,
always
people.
tell I always tell people that you did cheer and football, and people always say that that's really cool. And so it's something that I was always proud of you for, that you didn't let the whole toxic masculinity get in the way of you doing something like that. Because let's be real, I mean, I think it's more accepted now than it was then.
Oh, yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? And so, and I mean, I remember like technically my first, I guess you could call him maybe my first boyfriend. He was a cheerleader. Spoiler alert, he was actually gay. And
I
so
remember this
that's a
guy too.
story. That's a story for another day.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I remember the idea behind just, you know, being associated with guys in cheer back then was like, oh, they're gay. It's like, so I just really, really love that you know, you didn't take on the whole toxic masculinity idea behind it. You're just like, this is just a sport like anything else. And you perfected it, and, you worked hard at it like you would any other sport. And I thought that was cool.
yeah, and to kind of to dive in a little bit on that there too, with like the whole toxic masculinity thing, if I could speak English. Yeah, it was definitely kind of an aspect where I had grow. Like it was a really great growing opportunity for me too to realize like, yeah, you could be, you could be macho and still be a really good dancer. Nothing wrong with it. It's cool. Shout out to Roy Rogers again for showing me that. Like it was cool. I was like, okay, cool, good job, Roy. He's like, oh, you can do it too. Oh, I can. Okay, cool. How do I do that? Oh, just gotta commit to it. Gotta go all in. I'm okay, all right. That's cool. Right on. But I was kind of worried about telling dad too, because like I said, we've been training for years for football, and like, hey, we're finally at high school level. I dressed varsity as a sophomore or something like that. I don't remember. Spoiler, it's not really all that great because all you just do is stand on the sidelines. Anyways, but it's that's a whole funny thing in itself. But we trained for years at 4:30 in the morning, and people, it is hard to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I did it yesterday, and it was not fun at all. So
And you're he's also a parent too,
I am
so
a parent now. So shout out to my family. But man, it's tough, right? And then, we trained super hard because that's just what the sport demanded, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I didn't want dad to think like, oh, like he's throwing this all away for a new experience, because we both been on the same page of like, hey, you want to go in the NFL? All right, cool. I'm gonna help you out, son. But it's gonna take some hard work. We're gonna wake up and do the dang thing and stay true to us. And I was staying true to it, but I didn't want him to think that I was trying to deviate from that just by trying out something new. So funny enough, as we were, because dad drove me to school in high school, and he's just like, so tell me about this cheer thing. And I'm like, I was not prepared for this conversation at all.
see, and like
So
dad knew everything.
he did know everything too. And it could just be the way like he saw it as probably like an awkward conversation or something like that, or could feel my tenseness or something like as soon as he said that. Because I was like, oh man, my heart sank. I'm like, we about to do this right before school. All right, there's not enough time to have this kind of conversation because I was expecting the whole like lecture. So but it turned out he was really cool about it. He's like, all right, cool. Tell me about it. So I was like, all right. So I told him about you know, the whole rumor, the joke, and then I went to the stunt clinic. Like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool, whatever. And then he's like, all right, well, and I told him about the deal that I had with the head coach, with the head cheer coach. He's like, all right, well, yeah, this is cool. Hey, if this is what you want to do, he's super supportive of it. And I was like,
Dad does
well,
have, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I don't give him enough credit where he does have those moments where he is surprising. He accepts, whatever news you give him, and he's more on the supportive side, and you're like, oh shit, okay.
so like, okay, yeah. So yeah, I was super happy and relieved that that was one of those cases where I was like, this is great, and went off to kind of brag about my resume a little bit for cheer. Two-time state champion, almost was a national champion twice by less than a freaking point. Honestly, if you would have seen the winning routines, not trying to give you out shade, but I'm just calling it what it is. If you would have seen our routine and then the winning routine, our routine, super baller. So, not saying that the other team didn't do great. They did a good job. In my opinion, they played a little bit safer. But I never understood the whole scoring thing with cheer competitions, so that's why I didn't really get into that. But yeah, but it was cool. And it was even was it my third job too? I went on to go teach cheer camps for a summer. That was super fun. Taught a camp
I
with
didn't
Roy
know that.
Rogers too. He's a for context, Roy Rogers. He was a teacher at a school in California. That's where I first initially met him because I don't remember how they saw us or something like that because we were at nationals and we were it was probably like a night practice or something like that, and they must have been walking by and they're like, "Ooh, look at them boys dance." But then they saw a stunt. They're like, "Oh, that's cool though. So like, how about we do a little deal? We help you tighten up on your dancing and your jumps, and you teach our boys how to do co-ed stunts." Yeah, sure, whatever. Like we didn't really care. We're dudes just chilling in California, right? So yeah, it was cool. And then I taught a camp with Roy Rogers. I think it was like a year or two later or something like that. And it was cool. So moral of the story is try new things, people, and parents be supportive of new good experiences because you don't know how much your kids might be stressing. Because I was stressing big time, but I was super relieved
I could
once
only
that moment was
imagine.
over. So it was cool.
Something about Will is he's good at bringing things back around to like full circle, like how he just did. Like moral of the story is. So that's something you'll learn about our brother. He's really good at that.
I try, if you're going on the journey with me, I promise to bring you home. But just you got to stay close with me, walk with
No.
me, talk with me. I'll bring you home. So
So I'm gonna ask you some more
yeah,
questions.
go for it.
Wait, before you do, I want to say it's related but not related because you all were throwing out the phrase toxic masculinity. I actually think it's something to think about. He does not think toxic masculinity exists, and he thinks that's a stupid phrase, and he thinks the same thing about toxic femininity. And of course, obviously, why, right? Asked him that. And he's like, well, masculinity is looked at as such the positive, that's a beautiful thing for males to have is their masculinity. And same thing with females where they have their femininity. And how can something that's so good be toxic? And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So then what would you say, those traits are? What would you call those things in place of toxic masculinity or toxic femininity or whatever it is, or like feminist or stuff? And he's like, well, that's probably like narcissism or things like that. So I don't know, just a different
Interesting.
perspective. Keep going.
Well, to bring it back real fast, well then, maybe ask him then what is toxic positivity then in his eyes? Does he believe in toxic positivity? Because I believe that you can have it's kind of like the idea of you can have too much of a good thing. You know,
I sure I'd ask, but at that point I would also argue that that's two different things where femininity and masculinity are related to genders, where positivity is more related to like an attitude.
I understand that. I guess I'm not seeing it necessarily in the idea of gender. I'm thinking because, if we're going specifically just off of what your friend said that, if masculinity and femininity are all good, then the same thing with positivity. Like that's supposed to be good, right? But
Sure.
but that's another episode. That's another episode. But no, that's interesting. That's interesting. Thank you for bringing that up.
A good thing to talk about there too, and just kind of like rounding out a little bit more of like my experience there too, because definitely there's the upbringing where man got to be super macho. You know what I'm saying? Like it's and cheer. I didn't know that co-ed cheer existed at the time. Because it just wasn't in my orbit of stuff going on or my sphere of influence of anything like that. But like once I found out, I was like, oh, it's kind of like it's actually there's a whole division for it. It's everywhere, and it's okay. Sure, you're gonna find you're gonna encounter people of all different walks of life everywhere. Cheer is definitely one of those places. But there's nothing wrong with that. And that's kind of like because definitely too like even people guys on my football team they had an issue with it because like how can it just didn't make sense for young developing minds what I'm saying, and I was one of them too because a year before I'm like, yeah, you could never catch me dead doing cheer because not me, bro. It's it could be for somebody else, but it's not me.
6'7".
I wasn't even gonna go there, but but sometimes you gotta, and I think this is a good case of like, trying something new, being willing to commit to the experience, and growing from it. Because if I were to approach it like, I'm here for the ladies and the ladies only, what I'm saying, and that's it, you know, I would have only gotten, well, probably nothing out of it, honestly. But since I gave the same respect to it and was open minded about the whole experience too, I was able to overcome what I thought was normal. So, there you definitely can be, a masculine dude in a traditionally feminine space, and it's totally fine. Don't be a jerk. But it totally can happen. So it's cool. I can even talk about even when I was finishing school, the whole leaving work for a whole year, and that whole little dynamic and how I had to go on a journey of like part of my growing experience with that is learning that my value isn't tied to a paycheck as much as the world might say that it is. Granted, you can't pay your bills with your own self-esteem, but at the same time you're much bigger and much greater than you know a paycheck post taxes. But we could talk about that another time.
Do you feel like, random question, and Candace can get back to her questions? I understand that you feel pressure as a man, right, to fulfill things, and maybe that's societal pressures, generational pressures, whatever it is, right? But you being partially black, do you feel that that adds an extra layer onto everything because of, how it is with black people and how how it seems like we're behind or whatnot? Or have you not really thought that that was really even a thing that added to the mix? Because like Utah is all we know. We're just used to being the minority. And like for me, race was never really a thing. And I never really paid attention to race until I started traveling and learning that there's other shit out there. But do you feel like being black added an extra layer to things, or you didn't really think about it?
It's a good question because I mean, not to like, ooh, let me nitpick it, but I consider myself, I mean, obviously, I am a black man. That's I've embraced that part of me, and I think there's a I'll say it's kind of more of like a positive pressure in this case. The stereotypes, I feel like they're pretty loud. I don't know if it's just because like, hey, I'm a black man, and I hear just on the internet because I deal with computers all the time and with technology and stuff like that. You see the stereotypes. You see it everywhere, for better or for worse. But the positive pressure that I'm talking about is more like, you know, I know who I am, but most people don't know who I am. And I don't need them to really know that to know who I am per se. That doesn't give me value or doesn't. I
It
don't.
doesn't like fulfill any need. It
There you
doesn't
go.
give you satisfaction.
I don't
If
need to
you're not
be fulfilled by, other people's thoughts. That's just, I don't care, respectfully saying, right? But the positive pressure is just like, I want to be a good example, you know, just in everything that I do. I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress, just like a lot of people, I try to live what I believe, share what I believe when it's appropriate. And, I consider myself a very happy person and very fortunate, very blessed, and I want other people to have that the happiness too. But I'm not the best person to talk to at all times because I struggle with communicating sometimes, despite what people say. But I try to live what I believe and to show people, excuse me, just who I am, kind of a thing. Because I've been raised by good parents. I have good family. I have good sisters. I have good brothers out there, and they've played a role in my life. I have good friends. I have a good community, good teachers, good mentors, great friends. They all have played a part in my life for good. And I just try to live what I've been taught, you know. And other people, if they're looking for just I don't know, looking for something, and if they happen to see me or something like that, and just for that brief moment, I hope they can get something good out of it, so that way they could be happy too, or just have that little bit of good momentum to lead them on to the next thing. Yeah.
I love that. I hope you give yourself credit too, because good people surround themselves with good people. And when I talk about you to other people, I tell them that you're the best parts of all of us. There's like,
Whew,
she
I
does
don't
say
want that
that.
pressure. Just
Oh my
kidding.
gosh. Yeah, you really are. You're parts of all of us combined. And I think that just goes to show, I feel you feel that you have a good life and you're a happy person because you surround yourself with good people, but I also feel like you surround yourself with good people because you're a good person.
Yeah.
Circle back.
Good, shout out to all the good people in my life. I appreciate you. Love you all. But something that I could, it's not like you asked for this, but I don't want it to make it seem like it's just like an exclusive club or anything like that. But something that I personally got to work on. You know, um, is reaching out, actually, just including more people into that group of good people so that way they can be uplifted too. Because it's hard, honestly. It's one of the things I struggle with because I'm true and loyal, faithful to the people that I know that are, they don't even necessarily have to always reciprocate it back to the same level, but it's sometimes hard for me to make those new relationships and stuff like that, and include other people into the fold like that. So, but one of the ways that kind of helps out is finding ways to serve, you know, and it's kind of interesting 'cause even one of my closest friends now, we're great family friends now because his wife gave me a call because she was stranded out in Mona because her car broke down, and her husband was in. There's For context too, her husband, he's from Ireland. He was going through a weird period where he didn't have like a normal phone or something like that. He was just on Facebook. I don't know. It was kind of a weird thing. So that's why she called me. So but I remember I was doing homework too. And for context too, I was doing my degree in software development, and that crap is hard. It is hard. It's like learning a whole nother language if you're familiar. But I remember I was just like just running my head into a brick wall with a homework problem, and then I get a call from her, and she's like, "Hey, so you're my husband's ministering brother, so can you help me out and go get him and come give me a ride back out to my home?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, that's totally fine. Why not?" And then honestly, it was a really uncomfortable experience to start out with because, like I said, I have a hard time with reaching out and all that stuff. But yeah, it was a cool little. It was like a 20-minute ride or something like that. Yeah, and got to know him. Turns out, he's cool. And then I got to know his wife on the way back too. I was chatting them up, and yeah, now they're family friends. Their family hangs out with my family, and it's all good. And one of the greatest service stories that led into an awesome relationship that I know. So yeah, more of that story is if you have a hard time making new relationships, go out and serve people. Not get anything out of it because you're gonna, the reward in this sense is obviously, you did something good for somebody else, but it could blossom to an awesome relationship.
See, told you, he's good with the moral of the stories. The moral of the story is, well, we've kind of gotten a little bit all over the place, which is great because it's unscripted. But I'm gonna bring it back into a couple of different questions. A couple
Okay.
questions. Will, who is the most dramatic sister?
The most dramatic sister. Ooh, that is a good question there.
I feel like this should be a rapid fire. Don't think about it too much because we're already 44 minutes.
4 minutes into it, I would say the one who acts the most dramatic, definitely Sher'l. Respectfully saying, the one who I think is the most dramatic, respectfully saying as well, Kandyce.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I mean, it's I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
just
as I just
what came
go,
out. What? Me?
It's fair
and
because I tell people that I'm dramatic, but not in a drama way. Like I just exaggerate a lot, and I say like, man, this stuff sucks. I'd much rather just stab my eyes out with a freaking butter knife. Like that's pretty dramatic. You know what I mean?
I mean, sure. I mean, if we want to split the definition up, I mean, probably Trill, you got more flair. Stabbing
What,
your
what
eye
the
with a
hell
butter
does that
knife.
mean?
That's flair to me. But
Okay.
then like more drama, so to speak. That's more Candace Alley. Not to say like it's all like your fault and your whole drama and something like that, but it's just like, hey, we got. I'm trying to think of TV shows now. We got telenovela going on with Candace a little bit. Probably not to the same degree of like telenovela levels of craziness. But then we got Sher'l like MTV ridiculousness. I don't know.
dang.
Some something like that. I don't know.
Where
And then
does
we
the
got
toy?
like Toya. She's probably more like excuse me. She'd probably be more like, ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. Stars. I don't know. Movies. I don't know.
Dang. I'm still stuck on the most dramatic sister. I totally thought he was gonna say Sherelle.
Well, I mean, cause so off rip, I was gonna say Sherelle, but it's like her thing is just more like, the flair and the drama, like the
I'm pretty
crazy
chill.
expressions and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That's her bag. It is what it
See,
is, right?
Will gets me. Will fucking gets me.
Okay, let him continue explaining.
No,
Because I'd
yeah,
like to know how I'm dramatic.
I wouldn't probably say like you like you're the source of your drama. It's just like your life is interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like it's interesting to me, right? So you've gone through some things,
I
and
mean, I have
that's
gone through
okay.
some things.
You know,
Okay, in that text,
life is
okay,
happening.
I see what you mean. Okay, that
There
makes
you go.
sense. I'm all thinking like in the sense of like, oh my gosh, am I drama? But I see what you mean. I see what you mean. You're talking about like in the matter of like my life experiences and what I've been through in my life.
But why do you ask the question if you weren't ready for any
I
and
didn't.
all?
I'm fine.
You never know what might come out, but you get it.
Yeah,
Life is
I'm
happening for you, and it's interesting. Not to say like everybody else's life isn't interesting, but Candace's
right.
life
No,
is
that makes
interesting.
sense. That makes
She's been
sense.
through some things. Some things have happened.
No, that makes sense. And it's okay for me to ask why,
Yeah.
Sher'l.
Yeah, you can always ask. I
Yeah.
tell people don't ask questions to answers you're not ready to hear.
Well, I didn't say I wasn't ready to hear it. I'm just wanted to understand.
Okay.
So
All right.
I
Peel the
Correct.
onion. Get into the
peel the
layers.
onion, the layers. Who's the bossiest? I think I already know the answer to this.
Candace.
Yeah, that's fair.
It your oldest sister. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Tell you all
Let's
the time, just like I've said multiple times, like you're the captain of the siblings. I told you this and I
True.
know this before, but I'll ask like, yo guys, we playing Among Us? And then I think Toy or Will, someone like, oh no, not tonight. But then Candace says it and people are like, let's go. Literally same night. People are like, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Well,
Candace,
if
let's
Candace is
go,
in
let's
it,
go.
we all gotta show up now. So
For real.
we have been called. We must
Literally,
answer.
we'll all ask how high.
Will describe each of us in one word. So start with Sherelle, then Latoya, then me.
Okay. Sher'l. Sher'l. That would be the word. But if I had to do a different one, I would say
Cheryl.
because I want to say like unique for you all, but how about I say this? Trailblazer. That's what I would say your Sher'l. And we can elaborate on that later if we want to. Okay. Toya. Toya, I would say I'm going to say the word that comes to mind is grounded. It's that, you know, grounded. Or maybe, well, I wouldn't say flexible, but
Maybe on restriction.
maybe unrestricted.
I'm making a joke.
I know.
I
I caught the
we
reference.
get it. It wasn't that funny.
Grounded for a week.
I'm
It's all right.
just kidding.
We can elaborate on that later too. Candace, I would say resilient. That's the word that comes to mind.
Okay. I think all those descriptions of all three of us are pretty accurate, I think.
Checks out.
Yeah. Who is most likely to be late to everything?
Sher'l.
It's a toy.
I mean, if I'm being real, it is a tie between you two. But you know, Toy is
And
sick
you
right
mean and
now.
you and
She
you
doesn't
mean
have a
Latoya
voice.
and Sherelle, not me and Sherelle. That's for the people listening.
Yeah, so Toy and Sher'l. That would be it's kind of toss up a little tie between you two. But hey, it is the person I would say least likely to be late, excluding myself, would be Candace. So let's put it that way there too,
And
respectfully.
that's not saying much because I'm
Candace is
late too.
I don't let her be late unless she's has her kids, and then it's like she has to give up serenity. Anxiety will never let you be late unless you have the kids, and if you have the kids, you just have to give up control.
Well, I'm a lot later than y'all think. It's a thing. It's now when I
But hey,
don't have the kids too, I would say it's a lot less when I have the kids. But it does happen, and this is like a totally different episode. But like I do have ADHD, and like and so there's a lot of time blindness that I have. For example, just quickly say I get up in the morning, and the task is get up, make your bed, brush your teeth, get dressed. My tasks in my brain are telling me, okay, get up, and I see something on the floor and I'm like, okay, time to do laundry. And then I see clean clothes that need to be folded. I'm like, oh, I gotta go do that. And then I see a piece of trash on the ground. I'm like, oh, I gotta go take out the trash. Then I'm like, oh crap, there's something on the floor. I gotta sweep it, and then I gotta mop it. And then I go back and I'm like, crap, I was supposed to make my bed, brush my teeth, and get ready for work. And now I'm a half hour late for work because ADHD.
At least, productive from what it sounds like. You hecka productive.
Yeah.
You
It's like a
getting things done.
yeah.
It's just the
So
order, but
yeah, it's crazy, but
life is life.
yeah, life be lifing. Who is most likely to cry at a movie?
Not Sher'l. Probably you, Candace. It's kind of a toss up between you and Toya, but I'd probably say more like 65% you.
Okay. Who is more likely to forget someone's birthday?
I wouldn't say you, Candace. Toya, maybe Sher'l. Probably say more Sher'l than Toya.
Who is most likely to survive a zombie apocalypse?
Sher'l. She's played enough video games. She knows what it is. I mean, if you're not a gamer, I don't give that edge to you. You mean, because who thinks of that? Gamers do. Like, no joke. Even I have a skeleton framework of in case of zombie apocalypse.
Okay,
Break this
pause.
case here. Here's the plan. Let's rock.
I have literally a whole scenario, mental gymnastics in my mind. Whenever a zombie apocalypse happens, okay, this is what would happen in my mind. The zombies would kill all of you guys, and then it would
Whoa.
don't talk. The zombies would kill all you guys, all the family, right? And then something would awaken in me, right? Like some sort of beast or acronym for any of my Attack on Titan fans. William, you understand that. And then I would play the song Free Animal, okay? Free Animal.
I'm free.
No,
Free
that's not free. No,
falling.
it's
I know.
free.
I'm totally.
And so the beginning of the song is I wish I could think of I wish I knew the artist, but the beginning of the song has this whole breathing thingy, and I would look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, dude, I got to do something about this while the music is playing. And then all of a sudden I pick out from my drawer the war paint, and then I'm like, as it's playing, that's how it starts, right? And then I would just put on my makeup, and then I from the trunk sword from Dragon Ball Z, and then I would just get ready for zombie fight, get in the mode, okay, and then drag my freaking knife like I'm Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, and then there's a zord of a horde of zombies coming at me, and then I just slice and dice and take out my freaking gun, and then pull out John Wick ballerina, and then a zombie's coming at me, all of a sudden he's punching me, but then I grab him by the hand or something like that, and then I'm stabbing on this and then another's coming at me. I already have this whole thing planned out on what would happen if I were in a zombie apocalypse and the zombies killed all my fam.
So you just rush into your death too. That's what I got out of it. You be going out swinging, and you'd be like,
Anyway,
"Don't worry, fam. I'll be right behind you. Let me just go confront this horde of zombies." And ballerina, John Wick. But hey, moral of the story:
anyway, keep on.
always be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that in Scouts.
Not the moral of the story.
That's what it is. Got to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? Funny enough too. So real quick, me and Abby, we just went repainted our back door. Not fun, by the way. Super expensive, but another story. So I'm walking to Home Depot, and I realize I got some serious paralysis by analysis, meaning that I got when I got so many options to choose from, I'm just I don't know where to start. I don't know which one to do. So anyways, I'm looking for, I think paint goggles or something like that, because we had a Sando door. And then I'm walking.
Really quick, I'll be back. I'm still listening. Give me 2 seconds, okay?
Okay. So I'm walking to find the goggles, and I pass by some what do they call those, little spatulas for putty or something like that. It's little scrapers things, whatever. So I saw some metal ones, and I'm like, there's a whole big old section in Home Depot, and I'm like, it'd be really cool, or it would be really useful. We're in a zombie apocalypse. I probably have to come hit up Home Depot a little bit. because my initial thought
Not
would be
back to
like,
the zombie apocalypse.
yeah, that's I legit thought about that. I'm like, you know what? Because I mean, you got weapons for days. You know, you could build stuff. But you know, if you go to Walmart, you might be able to find, still kind of equally useful stuff, and you got food. But you don't got much food at Home Depot except for like $4 candy bars. And I'm like, man, you got stroking people on some candy bars here.
I
Anyways,
mean, it is Home Depot, so
you go to Home Depot for the tools, not for the candy bars.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you don't go to a salad
Exactly.
restaurant for the burgers, and you don't go to a steakhouse for, the side salad. It just conflict of interest. It's not a thing.
I guess what's one thing you've learned from growing up with three sisters?
Something that I learned growing up with three sisters. I'd say going back to the Trailblazer thing for Sherelle, right? Because I feel like me, Toya, and you, Candace, we got our thing, like our little. I don't know if niche is the right word for it, because honestly, I don't really know what niche is, but I've heard it used a lot. So I'm gonna use it here. We got our thing, our niche, right? But Sherelle doesn't really have her like niche. Her thing is just her being her and just going out and doing things, So like just I'm gonna talk about your resume a little bit, Sherelle, right? So you do hair, right? You had a corporate gig, didn't know what you did to be honest, but it was corporate to me. Now you're doing your flight attendant. I think that's the right term for it. You're doing that now. You've done a lot of stuff. Cool. So like you go out, you do, hey, I want to do this, you go out and do it. You know, even though like I know if I've had my moments where I'm like, I don't know if I would do that to be honest, but hey, that's Sherelle. She wants to do it, she's gonna go and do it. Go at it. Have at it. Wish you all the success in the world. And you've had great experiences that I feel like that you have a good pool of skills, which is awesome. Um, Toya, I think she's very versatile because the other word that was going to come up was like flexible, but also what is the other word? So like flexible in the sense like she can like especially nowadays where she's trying to be more behind the camera and like try other experiences with her acting and really kind of rounding herself out in that world or just even claiming new land in that world, right? So I think that's really awesome of her and can also try new things too, which is awesome. But also like sticking with what she really wants to do, Even myself, I was like, hey, you know what? Hey, I probably wouldn't do this here either too, but it's what she wants to do and she's doing great and she's owning it and making it her own and we're seeing her like reap the rewards from it, which is really awesome. So like, hey, not like not saying like I never believed in her, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, yeah, I know this is not an easy thing for her to do or for anybody to do, but she's doing it and she's doing it well, right? Yeah, like I think that's really awesome and sticking with it. I could say that I've even, you know, so bringing it back to Shrub just for hot moments, seeing like looking at my life, how that's kind of helped me out a little bit, right? So just the whole leaving work, my established career in debt collection, which is going to be a whole other story in itself because there's plenty of stories and stuff to talk about with that. But, it's, hey, Sherelle did it. She's done it multiple times as far as changed up. She's been successful. Why can't I do it too? So there's that. Toya,
Thank
she's
you.
doing something that's hard, me going into software development, hard, right? But I'm doing it. I'm trying to do it well because now I actually finally got a job, which is a whole other thing in itself, but grateful for it. It's a whole learning experience, but just trying to be good at that. And then Candace, I would say there's a lot that I could say about you, Candace. So I'll try to like I don't want to put you in a box or anything like that, but like one thing that I can always like say without even like shadow of a doubt, right? You always take care of your family, right? And that's you know not gonna get too much into it, but like considering the telenovela esque life that you got going on, that's pretty solid, right? That's pretty good, There are people that would probably shy away from the challenge, or shy away from the responsibility, but you don't. You you take it on, take the bull by the horns, and you know what? It may suck as far as some parts of it, but you do your best and you do it well, and you take care of your family, and I think that's awesome. And you even do things that other people wouldn't do to, for the better, for the better good, whatever that phrase is, for your family, especially, I don't know if I can talk about it here, but I left a comment on one of your videos where you talked about, something that you did for somebody. I'm like, you know that's bigger than me, respectfully, I consider
I,
myself.
if
But
it's the video I think you're talking about, yeah, that was wild. And that what I mean, not wild in a bad way. It was extremely unselfish, very kind, and I feel that that person was very undeserving of even a thought of yours. So the fact that you could remove yourself emotionally from the situation and do that act for that person, um, that's very commendable. I wouldn't do it.
yeah, and that's something that's rarely found in the world today. I wish there would be more acts that are like that, but unfortunately, it's increasingly getting more rare. you know so and my perspective on that particular incident, or that particular gesture of kindness, if it were me in that situation, I just because how I am with, like, I've never been divorced before or anything like that, and there's not really like an equivalent that I could really make towards that. But it would have been a thought that I would have done, just wasn't even going to be a thought, right? But you did it, and just my thought in the process, it probably was, a challenge, or maybe it wasn't, But if it were me, it would be a challenging thing to do. But the the benefits that come from it, and the blessings that can come out from that there too, I think that's awesome. It's there's just a lot that you could say about that, but you take care of your family, and that's awesome. And I aspire to be, fortunately, I don't have to work as hard as you. I want to make sure that, I can be just as good as a parent, and do the best that I can, and emulate the things that you taught me as well. Because also, hey, you you're the chef of the family there, or sorry, chef is a leader in Portuguese, or boss, right? So I speak Portuguese too, people. So
He
that's a
does.
thing. Sometimes I forget English, and just anyways. So, but yeah, it's yeah, there's a lot of things I could say about you guys. All good things, right? So yeah,
Hey, it's
that's
fine if
hopefully
there's
that
some
answers
bad
your
things because
questions.
we've all had we've had our moments, we're not
Oh,
perfect by any means. So,
oh, remind me to tell about the T-Rex story with Candace and me when it comes time to that. I remember that.
T-Rex story about me with
Yeah,
me and you?
yeah,
I don't remember this at all. You guys,
I remember that one. The moral of that story, here's that one. Don't mess with Candace. Big sis Candace, she handled business, right?
but one more question, to wrap it up. So just in general, if you could give advice to people with sisters, what would it be?
There's a lot of advice I feel like I give on that, because I think I got a pretty good, like, I have a unique perspective because I'm also a younger and older brother at the same time. So it's kind of it's an interesting thing, right? So I would say I would say definitely stay close to your sisters, and and this is true for your siblings too. Stay as close as you can to your siblings, because truly they are going to be some of your best friends and your closest people in your circle. Because an interesting thing that I learned, not to shade anybody from like high school or anything like that, or anybody that I thought was my friends, but I even talked about this with my wife. Like, sometimes it's you wish that you could still hang out with your friends sometimes from high school. Because, like, for me, uh, my friends were really important in high school to me, because they were the little slice of social life that I had outside of my family, right? But when you graduate and you grow up, grow old, crossroads of life just takes you away, and that's just life. Life's happening. It's all good, right? But your family can still be the closest people to you, and just you know, life. Another thing that you learn in life too, or that I've learned, um, and still learning how to deal with it, is time is just so limited. There's just not enough of it. And there's never going to be enough time. There's never going to be a right time or a good time to do a good thing. Just do it, and make room, make time, make space for the people that you really care about, you know. And I could honestly be better at that. But yeah, because life's just gonna keep giving you a whole bunch of stuff to deal with, whether it's work or community responsibilities. You're hardly gonna have any time. Like for example, I only have about maybe a few hours a day, throughout the week to try to work out and try to spend adequate time with my wife and child, and still try to take care of my church responsibilities and community responsibilities and this, that, and the third, and still, you know, shout out to Albuquerque, try to, hang out with Albuquerque, and because he's he's like a brother to me. Can't wait for you guys to meet him, by the way. He's such a great guy. But you know, just there's just not enough time for everybody. So unfortunately, but I'd say if you had to pick and choose, cherish your family, keep them close. Doesn't have to be every day, but if you can have some meaningful time, do it, make it happen, because it's going to make some very long-lasting memories and strong connections when you're going to need them. You know, and yeah, I'd say do that, and brothers be good brothers. Sisters be good sisters, and be good to each other. Yeah, just be good to each other. So, yeah, it's more I
I
could say,
love
but
that.
I don't want to keep rambling.
No,
Yeah.
you're good. No, just thank you for, I know we said this is kind of last minute, so thank you so much for joining us. And you're gonna be on like a lot more. So and then we can do deep dives and into like the nitty-gritty and stuff like that.
100%.
We
People got to know
talk
that
about the
about that
T-Rex.
T-Rex story. The people they know about it now, or they know that it exists. They got to know the details. So you got to tune in to see when that's going to happen next, people,
Oh my
because you never
gosh, that's
know.
hilarious. Dun dun dun. We like to end our podcast with, we go around and we say our joy of the week. So, Will, let's start with you. What's your joy of the week?
I mean, it's only Tuesday, but I would
It could be last
say,
week too.
oh, okay, rolling week. Sorry. Well, man,
And it doesn't have to be big.
I know there's just a lot to be for right now. Like I'm feeling particularly grateful for a lot of stuff, just with how life is going, despite all the challenges with it. I'm not choking up. Not about to cry, people. I mean, I'm man enough to
Yeah,
cry. Like
sure.
it's fine. I
Yeah.
just I ran like a 10K today, and for some weird reason, I got like phlegm acting up. So obviously, this is a joy. This is fun. Wish Toya could be here. She's here in
Yeah.
spirit.
We're
But
we're
this was a
sending
lot of
health
fun.
vibes.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
no, it'll be fun when we can get together and record. So, but this is the next best thing for now until we can get together, which is probably going to be Thanksgiving,
Yeah. Well,
maybe.
it's gonna be fun. It's always gonna
So,
be a good time. So. But I'll say my non like obvious answer would be I had a personal best today at the gym running my 10K.
ooh,
I ran a 7-minute 52 or no 7-minute 56-second mile, which is my
There
fastest mile.
you go.
that's
I'm a big
amazing.
guy. Don't let the camera fool you. I'm a big dude. So I was
He's
really,
lost a lot of weight recently, though, and I'm like, props to you, brother.
yep.
Props to
I still
you.
got more to go, but yeah.
But you're going. That's the thing. You're going, and that's something to be proud of. So, congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sherelle, your joy?
I had a long layover in Buffalo, New York, and I mean, I feel like I've said this before, but just a reminder, I never really even left my own home before I was flying. I didn't even know it was out there. So it was really cool hanging out in Buffalo. I went to go see Niagara Falls, and I made my way to the Rainbow Road and crossed over to Canada. And I just spent the day between Niagara Falls and Canada. And when I came back to the US, to make my way back to the hotel through public transportation, I came back and went through customs and then just looked back, and then I saw the sign like this is the road to Canada. And I had one of those moments where I just felt really grateful for my job, that allows me to have the ability to see the world, because I'm very sheltered and Utah is all I know. And I don't know, it made me realize that my world is so much, not my world, but the world is so much bigger to explore. And I was just a little overwhelmed with how grateful I am to have the opportunity to go and explore and open my mind and learn and experience new things. So that was my joy of the week.
Awesome.
That's
That's
awesome.
great.
That's awesome. My joy of the week, mine is not as meaningful as y'all's, but I am 2 for 2 going back to the gym. And it's not necessarily about just like, getting back to a weight that I'm happy with. It's just overall health, and I used to be really good about moving my body and going to the gym and stuff. And so I'm proud of myself for getting back into it. I know it's only day 2, but still the hardest part of going to the gym is getting up and getting yourself there. So I've done it 2 days in a row. So which means it's just a little bit easier to get up tomorrow.
We
But
should
yeah.
make bling competition and throw down some stakes. Throw down maybe like some cash or something like that to keep each other accountable. I think that'd be really fun. And it
Okay.
doesn't have to be like who can. Oh, maybe we could do like body fat percentage or consistency or meal prepping, whatever it is. We should figure it out. But because
Okay, I'd be
I
down.
will never shy from an opportunity to kick my siblings' ass. I love bragging rights.
We know. You don't get enough of them. Though you're welcome to try, though.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Sisters Unscripted. Thanks again to our baby brother for joining us for this episode. You can follow us on all of the platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can email us at sistersunscripted@gmail.com. If you want a shout out, you want to just send us a topic. We read our emails and we read our DMs. So we want to hear from you. We want to know what y'all are up to, what you're doing. We really appreciate you guys. Please continue to like and share our content to continue finding amazing listeners and viewers like you. We're still continuing to grow and we want to be able to continue getting our podcast out there. Thank you so much for being here with us. And we will catch you on the next episode. Sher'l?
Sisters out.
Sisters out.
Sisters, brother and sisters out.
Yep. That's still a thing. Still rocking it.